Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to this game called Life with yours truly, Coach PBJ. I am so excited. I can still hear the music. I can still hear the music. I am here with my friend Tanya. We met maybe a little over a year ago.
It was about 2 years.
It's about 2 years now. You're right, because you did 2 fashion shows, and then those years that you had, so maybe 3 years.
No, it's been longer than that.
Yeah.
I did the first fashion show before COVID.
You sure did. Oh
Yeah.
my God, time flies.
Yeah,
Oh my God, when you're
that's
having
what they
fun.
say.
Well, I am so excited to have Tanya here. She has been such an inspiration to me. She owns her boutique. I'm going to tell her own story, but she is just an amazing woman. She's a go-getter. She's just doing a thing. So, Tanya, this month we've been talking about this game called life. And on this game called life, we've been talking about when life happens. You know, life happens, and sometimes we can control it. Sometimes we can't. But it's not about what happens. It's about how you choose to handle what happens.
Right.
So tell the listening audience a little bit about you, what you do, who you are, and what does when life happens mean to you.
Well, I'm a mother of 3 daughters. I'm 2 biological. I have a blended family. Second marriage. Grandmother of 8.
Ooh,
Boutique owner.
You got 8?
I do.
I got 1.
I do.
I got to catch up. Tell my kids I need to get together.
I do. I have 8.
That's a blessing.
5 girls, 3 boys, and they're all under the age of 5.
Oh, my.
Yes.
Oh, my.
Boutique owner. I've been doing that for 13 years. January would be the start of 13 years. I just started a cleaning and organizing business. That's 6 months.
Really?
6 months in, yes.
That's new. I didn't know about that one.
Yeah. I do interior decorating. I've been doing that for over 30 years.
Oh, wow.
And retired from the government after 29 and a half years. I know I don't seem that old, but I've been super busy. But when life happens, you just kind of got to go with it. And it's all about, like you said, how you handle it. If you're grounded, then you can keep up. When you're not grounded, that's when you get left behind and the confusion starts because you feel kind of in the wind, you know, whichever way the wind blows, and you feel like that's where you're going to land. But if you're grounded, then you're not shaken, you're not moved. You know, you just you're going with the flow.
That's good.
Yeah.
So talk more about what you mean when you say grounded. What does that look like?
Having faith. You know, I was having a conversation with one of my girlfriends the other day, and I was telling her that a lot of times we're looking for things, and because we can't see it, then we don't understand it. And it's almost like, you know, when they say walk by faith and not by sight. And when you really think about it, when we walk by faith, we can't really see what it is that's either coming our way or what we're going to go through. But if you have the faith, it doesn't matter if you can see it or not. Because it's the faith that actually takes you through that whole process, whether it be good, bad, or ugly. Faith is something that you have to have, and that's what I mean by being grounded. If you don't have that solid relationship with God, because we tend to worry about relationship with man, how they view us, what they think about us, if they're talking about us, if they like us. But if we would put that same energy into worrying about how God feels about our relationship with him, that can make all the difference in the world. It doesn't matter. When you get past people, it doesn't matter what people think. Once you're focused, because you have the distractions, the temptations, the focus, and the timing. So when you become distracted by the temptations of life, then you lose focus, which that can alter God's timing. So that's what I mean by being grounded. Once you're grounded and you bring all of that to the forefront, and it's right there, and that's your belief, that's when you're on a journey, that makes all the difference in the world.
And that's good. You know, the definition, the Bible defines faith, but now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen.
That's it.
And so, you know, we are always looking to see it. You're not going to always see it.
Right.
And so when life happens, like you said, you just got to go with the flow.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to trust also that whatever it is, it's going to work for your
That's
good.
it. That's it.
And you got to look for the good in it.
That's it.
And but what I'm learning also, Tanya, is because you meet a lot of people.
A lot.
You meet a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And I was, I've retired from CDC
Mm-hmm.
finally, thank God,
Praise
in
God.
June, right?
Praise God.
And so now I'm full-fledged into my coaching practice. I still do my real estate, but my passion is coaching,
Mhm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've worked with several women down through the years, and just been having some conversation just lately
Mm-hmm.
with some of the people, and I'm like, God, I almost felt like a failure.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm like, but I can't own other people's stuff, so I had to say
That's
that
it. That's it.
because the Bible says it's according to your faith. So no matter what you do, no matter what we say to other people, it's something that you got to do,
Mhm.
right?
That's it.
And it everything your whole life, it starts and it finishes with you.
Mm-hmm.
Even when life happens, when stuff happens in my life, good, bad, and indifference, I'm now starting to examine it and say, okay, how did I create this?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's either in my thought process,
Mhm.
something I held on, something I said,
Mm-hmm.
something I didn't pay attention to, something that I let linger.
Mm-hmm.
What was the energy that came with it?
Mm-hmm.
And more so, I'm starting to pay more attention now to what I create that's good, because I want to create more of that,
Right.
right?
Right.
And so, what in your experience with dealing with so many people? Because I know when I go into the shop, I'm gonna stay there for a minute because we gotta talk.
Right.
Look, I got to
right.
get my coaching done too, right?
Right. Well, as I was explaining yesterday, when one of the chair of the women's ministry, she approached me back in August,
Mhm.
and she had asked me if I would be the speaker for Women's Day.
Mhm.
And when she asked me that, something happened inside,
Mm.
but I couldn't explain it. But
Mhm.
I knew that I couldn't respond at the time because it was something I had to pray about.
Mhm.
And I said, well, I don't have to answer you right now, do I? Can I let you know on Sunday?
Mhm.
And she said, sure. So I immediately started praying about it. And I said, Lord, what are you doing? And so my husband and I, on the ride home, I didn't say anything to him until Monday.
Mhm.
We were having dinner at the table. And I said, babe, I forgot to tell you that Miss Helen asked me to be the speaker for Women's Day. And he just looked up at me and he said, okay. I said, well, that's all you got. And he said, yeah. And my husband's a minister.
Mhm.
So he said, yeah, you got this. And so he just went on about it, never said anything else. So I had began to, try and study and, okay, Lord, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Because he reminded me that several years back that I said, Lord, if you just gave me the opportunity to tell my story,
Mm.
if you just gave me the opportunity to tell my story, I would tell my story.
Mm.
And it was so many years ago because we talked about my
Mhm.
bitter divorce.
Mhm.
It was bitter.
Mhm.
And I felt like I needed to get that off of me, that I needed to share that with other women because we get so close to wanting to give up. And so my topic was giving up is not an option.
Mm. You talked about it yesterday?
Yes.
Okay, talk about it today. I
yeah,
want to hear.
Yeah, and that was my topic. And the reason I chose that topic is because when we find ourselves in certain situations, and a lot of times these are self-inflicted wounds, and we cause a lot of our own issues, but then we get upset with God when he tells us before we start
No.
that's not what I have for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
He'll give us the yield signs, the red lights, the stop signs, the hesitation marks, don't do it.
The get out.
That's it. Don't do it. Let it
Right,
go.
right.
And then we will go ahead and move forward. And then we get angry, or we feel like God's not listening because he allowed us to do that. But if we didn't have the obstacles and the trials and the tribulations and the hurt and the pain, if we didn't have any of that, why would we need him? So he allows it to happen to see how we're going to handle it. So once I really started examining my life and just started thinking about things that I had done that God didn't want me to do, and I didn't know it then. I didn't I didn't know it at that time. But then once I got in it and things started happening, I'm like, Lord, how did I get here? How did I get right here? Well, because that's where you chose to be. And I tried to tell you that's not what I have for you, but you know, you had to have it. So giving up is not an option. But if I had going through that bitter divorce, and I didn't share a lot of this yesterday because once I started telling them about me going through my fasting process, when I went to God and I said, you know, Lord, I know I need to fast because I need to hear from you, but my flesh is weak. I don't know how to do it. I need your help. And that was one of my prayers. And I didn't think any more about it. So about a week after that, I started getting sick. And it was just out of nowhere. You know, I lost my appetite. My equilibrium was off. I wasn't sleeping at night. Rapid weight loss. I had to be rushed to the hospital several times by ambulance, and I wasn't understanding what it was. They flipped me inside out. Team of over 12 doctors, 28 prescriptions, which I never took any of them because if you can't find out what's wrong, why are you giving me the prescriptions?
Right, that part.
And so God had to remind me on that. On this particular day, I was at home by myself, and my daughters were at school, and I had gone down to the kitchen to get a glass of water, and I was standing at the sink, and I literally just fell to the floor. I mean, I lost all my energy and everything. Legs just literally came from up under me.
Wow.
And so I crawled over into the family room, and I'm laying there in fetal position, and I'm rocking back and forth, and I'm just crying out to him. And I said, Lord, if you're going to take me today, just don't let my babies find me. Because I felt that close to death. And this gust of wind, it just whoosh, right over me. And so I set up Indian style, and I'm laughing and I'm crying at the same time. And he said, go look at your calendar. Just out of nowhere. And see, a lot of times we think that those are just thoughts that we have, but that's really God speaking to you.
Absolutely.
Because why am I going through that and I'm thinking about a calendar?
Right.
And so I get up and I go look at the calendar, and looking at the calendar, the day that this was happening, it was exactly 40 days from the day that I asked him for his help for fasting.
Wow.
So he had me on a 40-day fast. So
involuntary fast.
That's it.
An unaware fast.
That's
you,
it.
you volunteered for it, but
That's
you
it.
needed help.
That's it.
Wow.
And so it was, how can I start new when you're still on the old? I can't pour in the new on top of the old. I have to eject the old in order to pour in the new. So once I started on my journey, Paula, every morning, I don't talk to anybody until I talk to God, not even my husband. I don't talk to him in the morning, and he knows there's no conversation from me in the morning. My daughters, no conversation in the morning. I don't care what's going on around me. Don't call me, don't text me. If you call me and you text me and you can't get me on the phone, I'm worshiping at that time. So there's nothing more important than me giving thanks for the blessing that you've given me on this day. So I have to honor you first before I even entertain anybody else. And the demonstration that I gave yesterday, you have to stay connected to the source. So being connected to the source, it's me speaking in this mic. If I turn this mic off and disconnect it from the source,
you're not going to, right.
It's still a microphone, but it's not serving the purpose intended.
That's good.
So if I don't connect to the source every day, then I'm not serving the purpose for which he intended for me to serve. So how can I pour into my husband, my children, my grandchildren, my friends, my customers? You know, how can I do that if I'm empty? If I'm disconnected from the source and I don't have anything else, how can I give you something that I don't have?
That's powerful, because I'm on this journey to every morning. I started a very bad habit of picking up this phone and going straight to games in the morning, thinking, well, I'm playing this, helping me with my mind. So I tell myself, but Saturday, God says, put that phone down
That's it.
and get into some quiet place. So I just
Mhm.
started reading, books about whatever. And I read a book this morning, and God, what's the book called? It says the 5-minute. I can't remember the name of it now, but it was on my phone.
Miracle.
It, huh?
5-minute miracle.
5-minute miracle. That's it. Okay. So in the book, it talks about the 20-20-20 principle.
Mhm.
And the 20-20 principle says when you first get up in the morning, you go get your body physical, go do some exercise, go do some walking, do some running, do something, connecting with nature, do something.
Mhm. Mhm.
The next 20 minutes, you just sit in silence. The
Mhm.
last 20 minutes, you feed your spiritual self.
Mhm.
And I'm like, and so pretty much, I don't know what the time he says, but and he suggests you do it at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Mhm.
And so
I'm
from
sorry, it's the 5 a.m. club.
5 a.m. club, because that's what he says. Yeah, you do it at 5 o'clock in the morning,
Mhm.
and so from 5 to 6 for an hour, you're connecting with all that is. You're connecting with God. You're getting your mind right. You're getting your body. He talked about why he recommended the exercise first, but to get your adrenaline and stuff going, and then
Mhm.
get your mind right,
Mhm.
because he said something about something happens when you start just waking your body up, wake your body completely up. And so pretty much you don't start with the exercise, but you do with the 20-20 principle,
Mhm.
where you get up and you get your quiet time.
Mhm.
Tony and I used to do what we call savers. I may have shared this with you, where we get up in the morning, we sit in silence,
Mhm.
we affirm our day,
Mhm.
we visualize where we see ourselves going, we exercise, we
Mhm.
read, and then we journal, we write.
Mhm.
And so I noticed that when we started getting away from that, you can feel the disconnect, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And so that was amazing way. So when you had this whole near death experience and you was asking God for this, what point of where were you in your life at that time? Was that in between your divorce and your new marriage, or?
No, it was a lot. It was a combination of going through the divorce, not being happy on the job, being a single parent, but God had to remind me that when I made the decision to leave a job after 29 years, I'm at a point now where I'm careful what I speak into the atmosphere.
Girl, we talked about that.
Because I'm learning when I look back over my life, certain things that I've said, I spoke it into existence.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I left my job, this was when I was going through the illness.
Mm-hmm.
One of my ex coworkers had called. She had retired, and she called through the call center, and they transferred the call. And she said, "Hey, Tanya," she said, "this is Sherry." She said, "I was calling to check on you. I heard you had been really sick, and I was calling to check on you because I was worried." They said, it was pretty bad. And I said, "Yeah." She said, "Well, how long are you going to do this?
Mm-hmm.
How long are you going to try and stay there?"
Mm-hmm.
And I said, Sherry, if God were to tell me today was my last day, it would be today.
Mm-hmm.
No sooner than I uttered the words,
Mm-hmm.
my phone rang. It was my director calling me into the office.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to be transparent today, just like I was yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So he calls me into his office, and I've never had a man raise their voice at me and talk
Mm-hmm.
to me, yelling and banging their hands
Mhm.
on the desk. Now, I'm at work.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is my director.
Mm-hmm.
You raising your voice and you done slammed your hands on the desk and you coming up over the seat and you don't care nothing about me being tired. See, God knew what button had to be pushed in order for
To
me
push
to
you
move.
out, girl.
Because he had been saying to me, that's what started the fast, because I went to him to say, Lord, if this is not what you have for me,
Mm-hmm.
I need to know that it's you and not me.
Mm-hmm.
I need for you to make me move,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm not strong enough to do it on my own, because
Mhm.
I don't want to get ahead of you.
Mm-hmm.
So that particular day that happened, I came in the next day, I turned in my resignation. And so on the drive home, I'm not thinking, because I'm thinking, okay, I'm acting out of emotion. God said, no, you're not. I told you to pack your bags and come on with me. Now, either you trust me or you don't. So I'm driving home and I'm like, oh, Lord. I said, Father, I'm about to be a single parent. I don't have a job. I ain't got no insurance. I mean, and I'm crying the whole time. Like, what am I going to do? He said, what you need insurance for? What you need insurance for when you have assurance? That's my temple. And I can assure you
What you say now?
that anything that happens to my temple, I'm going to allow it to happen, because I already have the answer. And you're not a single parent, because I'm their father. I'm your father.
Yes.
So You're not a single parent.
Yes.
And that job that you had, I gave you that. The man sitting in that chair, he didn't give you that job. I blessed you with that job. So if you trusted me enough to handle you then, trust me even more to handle you now, because guess what? I didn't give you a job. I gave you a business. I gave you a whole business.
Sound like 3 of them.
See, right. See, you
Yeah.
were responsible for 17 people
Wow.
working 5, sometimes 6 times a week, 6 days a week. And you had endless hours. But watch what I do. I'm going to give you a whole business and let you call your own shots. And I'm going to triple,
Show it when you
not
want to.
double your income, but I'm going to triple your income
Won't he do
and
it?
let you call the shots.
See.
And you can work however many hours you want to. So how do you go from working 80 hours a week to sometime working 10 hours a week and your income
And make
triple?
it 3 times. How about that? Girl.
That ain't nobody but God.
When I tell you, every time we talk, it's another similarity in our stories.
Yeah.
So funny. Because I was at year 28
Mm-hmm.
and I had a new boss, Emil.
Mm-hmm.
And he was, and Lord rest his soul, he's since passed away, but he was 6'4", big guy, military guy. And he came in a job and just, at first we were like, he was like celebrating me, like loving the knowledge, loving the, what I brought to the table.
Mm-hmm.
And then people started bypassing him and come straight to me.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so he called me into his office to tell me that he didn't like that I was answering the people and I was helping and I was fixing this stuff because that's stuff that the director should be doing. And I'm like, so you want people to call me who's been here for 28 years and they have a relationship with me and they know that I can do it. You just got here. You're still learning. And you would rather me tell them to call you for you to call me? What sense does that make? Right? And I said, I just don't work like that. If I see something that needs to be done, I'm just going to get it done. And he stood up, Tanya, and 6'4", and he started talking about being in the military, and he's never had a soldier talk to him the way that I talked to him. I said, first of all, I'm not in the military.
Right.
This is
Right.
not the military, and I'm not a soldier.
I'm not your soldier.
And I'm not your soldier.
I am a soldier, but not yours.
Period. Point blank. In the story, right? And so he stood up, and I stood up too, you know. And I felt like I was outside of myself because I lost it. I just like, what you ain't, because I mean, at that point, because I had been through so much on the good
it.
government jobs, I had
That's
been
it.
through so much, and this time it was just a breaking point for me. And I went to my doctor and said, look, I need you to take me, I want to implement FEMLA because I can't do this no more. For my sanity, I need to be off this job. And she gave me 6 or 12 weeks. I think she gave me 2 increments of 6 weeks off. And when I was getting 2 weeks away from time to go back, I call it eclipse money. Remember when the eclipse happened in 2017? And I was 2 weeks away from me supposedly to go back to work. And I was laying across my bed like the rest of the world waiting on the eclipse. And I was just like, God, in 2 weeks, I got to go back to this place. I said, God, I just don't want to go back. And I heard God says, go resign and do it now. Without even hesitation, without a think, I went and got my computer and let this serve as your 2 weeks notice. And I ain't coming back, right? And I hit the send button. And the moment that I hit the send button, the eclipse happened. And it's like God turned the volume up on my TV because it scared me when everybody started screaming. And the lady, the news reporter, she came back and talked about the eclipse just happened and the word eclipse means reset. And I'm like, oh my God, you just reset my life. And then I was like, ooh, I quit my job and I ain't talking to my husband. Because he was just starting to build a business of his own. I'm like, ooh. And when I called him, I said, hey, so what had happened was.
Like, I got something I want to tell you.
Yeah, right.
Are you sitting down?
Right. But when I tell you, he just like, well, thank God, I'm glad. He said, because I was tired of seeing what that job was doing to you. And so I thank God that I didn't have to deal with any negativity as a
Right,
result of my
right,
decision.
Right.
And I tell you, we didn't miss a beat.
And
We
you're not
did
going
not
to.
miss a beat. And then, of course, COVID happened, and I allowed the agency to talk me into coming back. You know, they waved a carrot in my because at that point when I quit my job, I left everything, and so I didn't have. We were paying our own insurance, so they waved that carrot in my face and to come back because I was only 2 years. It ended up being 3 years shy of retirement. So I went back and but nothing had changed, and that was the worst. That was the longest 3 years of my life, but I got through it, thank God. And now me and my husband got to worry about no insurance for the rest of our life, so that's a good thing. But again, another similarities in our story, and whereas we just knew that it was so much more. But that whole walking away, and I think at that time I was making like $152,000 a year. And to walk away from that and not miss a beat, it shows me who my source was. Now, I started real estate, and my first full year in real estate was 2018. And you can tell me I wasn't killing the game. You can tell me I wasn't making $200,000, $300,000 until I got my 1099. And I was like, Tony, this thing said I only made $27,000 this year.
You're like, wait a minute, hold on. Y'all missing some zeros.
Right. A whole bunch of them.
Right. Where my money?
But again, little is much when God is in it. And then that's when I really started to understand that there is no lack in a child of God.
That's it.
And the only lack I have is the lack in my mindset to put limits on the creator of all things, of God who owns the cattle on 1,000 hills. There is no lack in a child of God. So that's when my whole perspective, my whole idea about money, about success, all of it started to change. I can't say what I was getting ready to say because Tony in here, but he already know when I go in, I just take the American Express because we just walk up in the store.
Well, we even talked about that yesterday because, when I started the business, it was personal because I felt like, and I even said this yesterday, I said, I know so many people. I know, even before I started the business, I know so many people. And I said, if everybody that I know would sow a seed of $25 a month, I didn't say a week and I didn't say a day. That's just how many people I know.
Oh, wow.
$25 a month. TDK would be all right. I'd be sitting pretty. But God said, remember what you said to me now. When you started the business, you said that I'm the owner and you're the co-owner. And you also said to me, in your prayer, where I pray every day, when I enter that boutique, you can see when you come in there, you can see the oil on the thresholds because I go through and I anoint the thresholds. I touch the racks. I touch the merchandise. When I'm purchasing, I'm praying over it. Lord, I'm hoping I'm making the right decision. Those types of prayers. But the last prayers, when I go to that front door and I say, Lord, if the spirits are not kindred,
don't let them come in.
Do not allow them to cross the threshold of our establishment because I understand that
that's good.
All money ain't good money and some money ain't worth having.
I'm going to have to borrow that, Tony. We're going to add that in our prayer.
So when I say that, he reminded me of that because he said, you don't just want any type of spirit in here to make a dollar. So if it's your passion and I instilled this in you and I allowed you to birth this baby, I need for you to care for this baby the way you care for your babies. So this is a blessing too. So I have to care for that and not really focus on who's with me and who's not because I know and understand that everybody don't support you. Nope. That's why they don't support you. Nope. And everybody ain't happy about your stuff. So I'm okay with it now so that anger that I had and that disappointment and me getting in my feelings and, I can't believe that so-and-so ain't never been over here. That's where I was.
Of course.
And now I understand that you haven't been here to support me because God hadn't sent you here because, see, he know your spirit. I don't. He knows that our spirits are not kindred. I don't know that, but
that's
God
really
knows
good.
that.
That
and
is
because
really
I said, keep me from it and keep it from me, then that's what he's doing. So that's why I say you have to be careful on what you speak into the atmosphere because you just might get it.
So brace yourself.
Yes.
And be okay with it because it's what you asked.
You got to be okay with it.
Last weekend, was it last weekend? 2 weeks ago, Tony and I attended a retreat. And I was the speaker at the retreat. And it was for couples. And I was in a conversation and we would start talking about the things that we experience and things we bring into our relationship, things we bring into our lives from wherever, from childhood, from wherever, experiences we have in our lives. And so it's shame. It's hurt, it's insecurities, and it's trauma. Now, if you take the first letter of those words, you get shame, hurt, insecurity, and trauma, right?
Mhm.
It spells a word.
Uh-huh.
Something that we're full of.
Uh-huh.
Now, a lot of people get offended by the word, but I said it's just a word. And
It's
it's
a
an
word.
acronym.
It's a word.
And then when you look at it, all the fecal stuff that we have, if we don't deal with that fecal stuff that's in our bodies, it's going to eventually kill us.
Mhm.
If we don't deal with the shame, the hurt, the insecurities, and the trauma in our life, it's going to kill everything about our lives. It's going to kill your relationship. It's going to kill your health because the stress is not going to be able to. And so we have to start dealing with the SHIT in our lives
That's it.
so that we can be
That's it.
better versions of ourselves. And I'm so glad that you shared that with me, that you asked God to not let kindred spirits in here. Sometimes the people who don't have those kindred spirits, we can see the hurt, we can see the shame, we can see the insecurity, we can see the trauma in there. And by the nature of who we are, we want to help them, right? But God is saying, no. When my first husband passed away, and none of my friends showed up, and I had to go through that whole death process by myself. And they was there, during the week. But when the
dust
dust
settles.
settled, and the time that was the darkest time in my life, and I was so angry that the people that I thought that would be my Aaron and my that would be there, they didn't show up, Tanya. And so God says that it ain't that they didn't show up. They couldn't show up even if they wanted to, because it wasn't about them. It was about you.
Exactly.
And it was about what God was getting in me and through me. I had to learn so much about Paula through that time. And so it hurt, but I had to let it go because they couldn't show up even if they wanted to, because God was taking me through a journey.
Right. Right. So sometimes we'll get to a place to where, and when I accepted the invitation to become the speaker, I was getting ready to tell you, I was starting studying, and I had got the Bible. I had the King James Version, had the NIV version. I'm trying to make it make sense, and I'm taking my notes, and so I'm walking through, and I'm like, Lord, it ain't sticking. I don't understand why it's not registering. I know it. I consider myself to be pretty smart.
Right.
And I'm like, why it's not sticking? I can't make it make sense. So he said, because your message is not in the Bible. Your message is in you. I need for you to be I need for you to be transparent.
Yes.
I need you to be transparent. Oh, I'm like, Lord, you want me to tell my bit? You want me to tell all my business? Really? People I don't know? He said, that's not your business. That's my business, because when you brought it to me, it became mine. You said you gave it to me, so it's my business. But it's your testimony. So I need for you to go and speak to my people and tell them what I did for you. I don't need you to talk about Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, David, Goliath. That's not what they need. I didn't call you to minister the gospel. I asked you to go give a testimony. And when I say be transparent, I need for you to be transparent, because you chose the topic. Giving up is not an option. Now I need for you to tell them why you didn't give up. And when you chose not to give up, what was your reward when you chose not to give up? Somebody under the sound of your voice, they need to hear that, because they have either been where you've been, they are now where you've been, or they will eventually be where you've been. So you go talk. I need for you to go speak fact and not assumption, because when you talk about everybody in the Bible, you can only assume, and everybody's interpretation is different because we weren't there. I need for you to go speak fact. A lot of people don't believe in faith because they can't see it. So when you're looking for something and you don't see what you see, you can't see what you see because you haven't seen it.
Right.
And a lot of times you can't see what you see because you saw it, but didn't know that you saw it. So in part of my testimony, we talked about me becoming a mother, me losing my mom at the age of 7. The night we lost the night my mom passed, we went to live with my grandmother. I was 18 years old, and she passed. So my prayer then, I couldn't see what God was going to do for me, because that's not what I was looking for. So I would not have seen that. But I remember saying to him that, Lord, I need that because I'm empty. So I can't have a mother, but I want to be a mother. So had I given up when the doctors told me after 7 pregnancies, no abortions, miscarriages, ectopic pregnancies, and 2 births. But I was told that you don't have a problem getting pregnant. You'll just never give birth. You can get pregnant, but you'll never carry full term. You're high risk. So there was no pun against the man, but it was a male doctor. So I remember going to my dad and telling my dad, and I'm just boo-hoo and I'm crying uncontrollably. And he said, "Baby girl, why are you crying?" He said, "That doctor is practicing what God has already perfected. So if that's what God has in the cards for you, then that's for you.
Period. Yeah.
We're not going to accept that." So fast forwarding, they found a specialist. She went and she repaired everything. And when I tell you God is almighty, because man told me that I would never be able to birth a baby. Not only did I birth 2, but I birthed 2 in the only 2 ways that you can give birth. So being a woman, when you have a C-section, they tell you that once you have a C-section, you have to continue on with the C-section.
Right.
God said, "That's my temple. How you going to tell me how my temple works?" So my first baby, I had C-section. Second baby, I had vaginal. God said, "I created that. So how dare you tell me what I can do with my temple?" But then he took it even further, because I didn't even talk about being a grandmother. So here I am, a grandmother.
Yeah.
So when you ask for it, we can't see what God is doing. So when you can't see what he's doing, you can't see what he's doing.
So trust it.
That you got to walk. You got to walk in it. Walk by faith and not by sight. So if I close my eyes and I get up and walk across this room right here, I can't trust that I'm not going to run into something. But when I'm walking by faith, I can guarantee you that anything that's in my way, he going to take me right through it. So that now I understand walking by faith and not by sight. That's why I got big faith.
And now I understand what it says. He'll take the foolish things of this world to confound the wise.
That's it.
Because don't tell me what my God can do.
That's it. That's
That is
it.
awesome.
That's it. It's a whole bunch of unapproved messages. That
What?
message is not approved.
Right.
Stamp it, return to sender, and send it back. You got the wrong address. Go on with that. Go on. How the old folks say, go on now. Go on.
Absolutely. I absolutely love it. Tanya, what a powerful testimony.
I'm telling you. I told them yesterday, I said, if I walk y'all through my journey, I know our journeys actually start at conception, but when you really start paying attention to your journey, if you really sit back and just dissect, like when did I really start paying attention to my journey? And my journey really began, and I connect my journey with heartfelt, heart-piercing experiences to where I had to literally cry out to God. And that was at the age of 7, because that's the only memory that I have of my mom, was laying in her casket and me sitting on my dad's lap and asking him, why was mama sleeping in the casket? And I know there are other memories, but
that's the one. That's
for the life of me, I can't tap into it. I don't remember anything else.
about that.
I can never indulge in the conversation with my siblings, and there's 7 of us, but I can't indulge in the conversations because I don't have any memories. I can only sit and listen to their memories and my aunts and uncles telling me different stories, but I can't remember. I can't. I don't have any, and I'll be 57 in January, so I've been carrying that for 50 years. Yesterday morning, I'm tossing and turning, and about 4 o'clock, I wake up and I went into my closet, and when I'm praying in the morning, I'm kneeling beside my bed. That's where I do my worship, and then after I come out of prayer, I kind of sit in the chair and I'm connecting and I'm thinking about the day, and so I get up and I go in the closet, and I'm just nervous, and my stomach is tore up, and I'm like, oh, Father God, what are you saying to me? What are you saying to me? He said, why are you nervous to go talk to these people today? Why are you nervous? You're not nervous when you come to me. You're not nervous when you're crying out to me. They are you and you are them, because all of y'all belong to me.
And we are all one.
So why are you scared to go talk to them? Go tell them what I've done for you. Go tell them what I'm doing for you. Yes, you've been broken, but I restored you. And you were broken, and I restored you again. And you were broken again, and I restored you again. But then you let them know today that you're still broken, but you're in the process of restoration, but you still haven't given up. And my brokenness is my grandbaby. You know, me having to watch my baby, watch her baby fight for her life. That's a hard place to be as a mother. But had I taught my daughters that giving up is easy, she would have given up. She would have accepted what the doctor said, because when the doctors told her and my son-in-law that there's nothing else we could do, she called me screaming and hollering in the phone. I said, baby, why are you crying? She said, because they said there's nothing else they could do. I said, good, we don't want them to do nothing else. Right. I said, because we rely on God. They can't do what God can do. So when they come in that room saying, if, you say when, correct them. Don't let them speak that over her. Don't allow nobody to come in crying over her, because we're not accepting. See, you got to shield her from that. She can't fight for herself. And if you can't fight for her, tell her grandmama's on the way.
Period.
And that's how we've been handling that. So the things the doctor said that she would never do again, guess what? She's doing it.
How old is the baby?
She's 4 now, but she was 2 when it happened. She started school the Monday after Mother's Day. It was 2022. Yes, May the 11th, 2022. And that Tuesday evening, she had a seizure. And it was 12 minutes before the paramedics could get to her. So that was 12 minutes with no oxygen to the brain. Lord. So it caused an anoxic brain injury. But where the brain injury is, it affects the mobility. And this is our grandbaby. We always called her the track runner, because she's a lover of water, and she ran everywhere. I don't even remember her walking. I just remember her crawling and then running. And
sound like my grandbaby now.
you know, and I was telling my daughter, I said, you know, we don't serve a God like that. Not to where he would give her that type of passion and strip her from it. I said, but in order for God to move, we all got to be on the same page. Our yokes, they have to be even. I can't be the only one believing and trusting. So the doctors told her again that I just want to prepare you all. And it would always happen when I wasn't there. Well, I just want to prepare you all that when you take your daughter home, that she won't be the same as she was when she came in. So when I get to the hospital, my daughter, now keep in mind, she had just had her son, which was only 2 weeks old when all of this transpired. So she's on the floor, and my son-in-law's down there with her, and he's holding her. And, you know, I went over and, you know, I grabbed a hold to her, and I'm just rocking back and forth with her. She said, Mama, they said she won't be the same. She won't be the same. When I take her home, she won't be the same. I said, why are you crying? You didn't hear what I said. I heard what you said, but why are you crying? I said, baby, that's what we praying for. So if we take her home the same as she did when she came in, that means God ain't done nothing.
Yes.
So you got to find God in everything. We don't want her to come home the same, because I'm expecting for God to move in a mighty way. I'm expecting a miracle, because I know he can do it.
Yes.
Because if I didn't believe in miracles, and if he didn't operate in presenting miracles, I said, baby, you wouldn't be here. Because they told me I would never be able to give birth.
Yeah. You ain't talking about what you heard. You talking about what
I'm
you
talking
know.
about what I know. This is factual. I'm talking about what I know. So when they kept bringing those messages and kept bringing the messages, I said, every time they bring them, just say, okay. Just say, okay. And if they start talking stuff that you disagree with, don't be afraid to look at them and tell them, I rebuke that in the name of Jesus.
You know, I was going through a carpal tunnel, something, and they told me I needed to have surgery on both my hands. And I remember the lady tell me, she said, it's not going to get any better. And I said to her, I appreciate your diagnosis. Your diagnosis. I said, because it may be fact. I said, but the word is God is truth. And today I'm choosing truth. June 15th, 2001, I went to a praise and worship workshop Murphy.
Mhm.
William Murphy
Mhm.
was the speaker.
Mhm.
And I was wearing the brace, Tanya, and I couldn't clap.
Mhm.
By the third clap, it felt like needles would be going up in my hand, and they would just started to swell. It was really,
Mhm.
really hurt, painful. And that morning, I remember God woke me up. He says, Paula, why you don't trust me to heal your, I heard, if you had cancer, do you trust me to heal your cancer? I'm like, where did that come from? Yeah, God,
Mhm.
I trust you to heal your cancer.
Mhm.
And he says, well, why don't you believe that I heal your hand?
Mhm.
And I said, God, I do believe. Remember I told the doctor,
Mhm. I was your advocate. I was advocating for you.
I told the doctor that I stand on truth. He says, yeah, you said it, but I need for you to believe it.
That's it.
He said, because I'm going to do it today.
Mhm.
It's plain as day, June 15th, never forget 2001. Went to that praise and worship, and that man got the mineral. He says, now when I say something and your spirit agrees with it, he said, I need you to seal it with a clap.
Mhm.
And he started ministering. Next thing I look up, I'm clapping like I done lost my mind in
Mhm.
there. And I heard in the spirit says, look at your hand. It wasn't hurting.
Mhm.
The swelling was going down. And the ring I had on my finger, at the time that he says, look at your hand, the ring flew off.
Mm.
That's how much the swelling had went down, that the ring just flew off.
Man.
And I'm like, oh my God, he
Mhm.
did it. He did it.
I'm looking for a miracle, and
He
I
said he
I
was
just
going
found
to.
it.
Yeah, and I found it. He
That's
said
it.
he was going to do it, and that's what we have to do. We have to really stand on that faith. And that,
Mhm.
and I like what you told your daughter. First of all, I don't even want to hear it.
Mm-mm.
Don't if it's not yes and amen, then I don't even want to hear it.
Mm-mm.
Just get out my face. Just say, go
Mm-mm.
ahead on and say what you want. Write it on a paper. Do what you got to do. Talk to somebody.
Mm-mm.
But don't talk to me about that foolishness.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. I
Mhm.
found myself in a
That's
place to where I
powerful.
couldn't get my mojo back. The
Mhm.
business was running slow, and customers wasn't coming in. And I'm like, oh, Lord, I can't figure it out. I can't figure it out. And what's going on? Show it to me. And that went on for about 2-3 weeks. I said, oh, I can't. I can't. And I remember calling my daughter, and she and we cried together because I said, he showed it to me. I couldn't get it back. I couldn't figure out what had me bound.
Mhm.
Felt like I had handcuffs on me, and I
Mhm.
just couldn't, like the energy was zapped.
Mhm.
It was my granddaughter because I wake up with her on my mind.
Mm.
I think about her all day, every day. Think about her when I go to bed at night because I just want so much to see her get up and run again and smile and talk in the whole 9 yards. God said, if you trust me to do it, why are you worrying about it?
Mhm.
Because you can't tell me that you believe me
Mhm.
and you're worrying
Mhm.
because the two don't go together.
Mhm. That's true.
You said you gave it to me, but now you're trying to take it back. Because if you weren't trying to take it back, it wouldn't be vexing your spirit the way that it is. So I need for you to truly give it to me.
Mhm.
Give it to I got it. But it's in my timing, not yours. Because, see, when I do it, I need for y'all to know it's me, and it's not the machines, it's not the medication, it's not the therapist, it's not that feeding tube, that wheelchair, it's not the doctors. I don't care what the tests say. I'm the one that blessed them with the knowledge to do what they do, and that is practice.
Practice medicine. Mhm.
They practicing, but at the end of the day, that's my temple.
He the author and the finisher.
That's it.
He's the great Jehovah Jireh.
That's it.
Jehovah Rapha, the
That's
God
it.
that healeth.
That's it. But when you say you can't give up, I don't need you giving up now, because when you choose to give up and not let go, there's a difference. When I came out of my marriage, I didn't give up on marriage, because if I did, I wouldn't be married now.
Right.
So I didn't give up. I just let go. I
Right.
had to let go of that marriage because
Close, yeah.
that wasn't for me. I did that. God didn't do that. I chose that man, which is why it didn't work. Because when God sends them to you, he's already done that pre-qualification. He's already looked at the application and figured, okay, everything that she needs is right here, or everything that he needs is right here. So I'm going to go ahead and approve this assignment so now they can navigate together. So everybody has an assignment, but in order for you to complete your assignment, you have to understand your assignment.
Period.
But if you don't understand your assignment because you didn't go to the source to get the assignment, then you don't know what it is. It's just like going to school. When you go in to take a test, you don't know what the test is until the teacher give it to you. So how you going to complete the test if you don't have the test?
Right. 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 And how do you prepare for the test? I know you've already shared it.
Yeah, that's through that's prayer. But when you it starts with prayer.
Yeah.
But if you don't believe what you're praying for,
like Acts, the people in Acts 12, praying for Peter to come home. When he showed up, they're like, it's a ghost.
Yeah, you
Right.
wasting your time
Right.
and God's time.
Right.
Because you're going to him and you're saying, I'm praying for these things, but because you went to him at 1:00 and he didn't show up at 1:05,
not
then you
105.
mad. But now you called on him.
Yeah.
You calling out to him, and the loudest voice you have, and you, Lord, I need you right now. It's 1:00, and you look at 1:05, he ain't there, but he done called you 30 years ago, and you still ain't answered. So you gonna make him wait, but then you don't want to wait. You say you have faith. You want God to be faithful to you. So how you expect for him to be faithful when you ain't got faith?
That part.
You got to have faith in order to know that he is faithful. The two go together. You can't expect for him to do and you not do.
And so, Tanya, would you say a lot of times people wait until things are happening, and the happenings are not the pleasant things before they start trying to pray and get in? You need to pray when things are going well. You need to pray without ceasing, right?
That's it. That's it.
So when stuff happens, because you already prayed up, when life happens, if you already prayed up,
it's not that gut punch.
Right.
Because when you ain't prepared for it, when you girded up and you done prayed and you know you done prayed and you got the faith, you know that when God moves, and if we say that we know he don't make no mistakes, God is not the master of confusion. I tell people a lot of times we talk too much and you're not praying enough. So if I prayed about it, why am I going to pick up the phone and call Paula and talk to Paula about it when I done prayed about
That's
it?
good stuff. Right.
Because at the end of the day, Paula can only give me her opinion. Paula can only give me what she thinks I should do. But if I'm asking God to speak to my heart, then why am I going to give Paula the opportunity to speak to my head? Because that causes confusion. Because 9 times out of 10, if you're not grounded and you're not prayed up, you don't have the faith and you don't have that relationship and you're not connected to the source, 9 times out of 10, you're going to go with what you see. See, I can see Paula. So because Paula told me to do X, Y, and Z, that's got to be true, because I know she has a relationship with God.
Yeah.
So I know God must have used her to tell me X, Y, and Z. That's not how he's going to do it, because he knows that I have a relationship with Paula, but I don't have a relationship with Paula's husband. So this is what's going to happen. I'm going to run into him somewhere in the store somewhere, and God's going to use him to give me my confirmation. So people have to understand that he's not going to use
what you're comfortable with.
Right. It's not going to
Get out
be
of
your
that comfort zone.
That's it. I tell people I sleep with my husband every night. We go to bed every night, wake up every morning. A lot of stuff that I've been through, I don't talk to him about it because I've already prayed about it. Because if I love him like I say I do, he's got his own stuff. So if what I'm dealing with is breaking me down on the inside and it's disturbing my peace, why am I going to go and talk to him about it to disturb his peace? So now he's got my stuff and his stuff. So it's not that I'm keeping secrets from him. I'm protecting my investment. Because if he's carrying too much, then what's going to happen eventually?
And men's are fixer, because as soon as you
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. So it's not, we just have to know and understand that when we say we trust him,
You gotta trust him.
you got to trust him.
Period.
And just stop talking so much. Just don't talk about it. Just don't talk about it. When I went through my divorce, when my family found out that I was getting a divorce, it's when I was moving into my new house by myself
Because people will talk you right
with,
out of what
with
God
my
said.
kids.
That's good.
What about the kids? I said, what about the kids? I ain't no good to them if I ain't no good for me.
That's right.
I can't care for them if I can't take care of me.
myself. Yes.
So what about the kids? I can't stay in it for the kids. I can't be miserable for the kids.
And it's amazing that so many people do that. And that's really hurting the kids.
It's hurting them.
Because they see the dysfunction. They see the abuse. They see the mental, the physical, whatever. They see it.
And it's not even
that
about the
energy.
two. It's not even about that. It's not even about seeing the parents not get along.
The energy there.
Energy.
Yeah.
Energy transfers.
It does. It
Good,
does.
good and bad. It transfers. So if the mother if your energy is off and you ain't never happy,
They see
and you
that,
ain't
and they're
smiling,
picking
and
it
you
up.
depressed, and
Yes.
you always laying in the bed,
You're
and
recreating it.
that's it. That's learned behavior.
Yeah.
That's you're teaching
And
them
they're
that
thinking
that's
that's
okay.
normal. That's where it's supposed to be, and it's not supposed to be.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So and that's when he said, "Let go." I didn't give up.
Mm-hmm.
I just let go.
I love it. I've heard so many great things. She's dropped so many nuggets here, hasn't she? Huh? A million nuggets, right? But it's I mean, it's good stuff. And what I hear is so much too. You didn't say this, but I kept hearing owning your own stuff.
That's it.
Owning your own stuff.
That's it.
And that's what you did. This is what you took accountability and responsibility for your own life, your own happiness, your own relationship with God, and you're living it.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I can say about you, Tanya, every time I come into your presence, I get something, right? And we
Thank you.
give and
Praise-
get. We
Praise
every
God.
time
we get it from each other. We
And
get
I
it from
just
each other.
love interacting. Tanya, we were running out of time. This has been the quickest hour.
Oh,
We got
wow,
about
that's been
8.
an hour?
Yeah,
Wow.
almost. We got 8
Time
minutes.
flies when you're having fun.
It sure do. We got 8 minutes left. So, and I'm just going to yield the floor to you. What is it? Because you just like I said, you shared so many nuggets, and I wish I would have known you were speaking yesterday. I would have had to come see you because that's a good word. The truth. That's what people need. People don't. I love how she said, the God said, I ain't call you to tell you to do no Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. I told you to tell your story.
That's it.
Because that's where
I didn't call you to
think
preach.
Peter even enjoyed what we were talking about today. Peter, you like what we were talking about? Can you hear me? Okay. So with the time we have left, I want you to do 2 things. I want you to close out with whatever you want to close out with, but tell people how they can find you. Tell them about where the boutique is, but make sure I come first before they try to come in and get the
Well, you
I
better,
gotta show up. I've been so
Yeah,
busy. I
you-
missed 2 sales.
you better come
Oh
on.
my
You
goodness.
better come
So
on.
tell us about the boutique. Tell us about your design. Tell us about what you're doing and where people can find you at.
the
And
boutique.
any closing remarks that you want to give.
The boutique, TDK Design and Consignment. We are located at 136 East Atlanta Road, Suite 300, Stockbridge, Georgia, 30281. Hours of operation, we are open Wednesday through Saturday, 11 to 6, Wednesday through Friday, Saturday 12 to 5. The days that we're closed, we do appointments as well, private
Okay.
appointments as well. So we will open for you,
Okay.
catering to the people.
Okay. And when y'all go in, tell them that y'all heard about TDK on the podcast.
That's it. How many
Yes.
minutes do we have?
You got some more stuff going. Go ahead. You got 6 more minutes. Go ahead.
I need thee. Oh, I need thee.
She's starting stuff.
Every hour. I need thee. Bless me now, my Savior. I come to thee. You just got to trust and believe that when you need him, he's right there.
Yeah. We hear that. What's that? Oh, that's another shirt. You hear that?
Yes. So I believe in true worship. I believe
Yeah.
in true worship, standing firm on his word, knowing that he would never,
Yes.
knowing that he would never leave
Never.
or forsake you.
And you've shown
never
that.
is a long time.
And you've had so many powerful testimonies, Tanya. So thank you so much for joining me on tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being flexible because we couldn't get it together last week. I gave Peter the wrong dates. So, but I am so grateful that you were here tonight, and we gotta have you
Thank
back.
you.
We got
Yes.
some more stuff we got to talk about.
Yes, ma'am. It's a whole bunch of
Yeah,
stuff.
It's a whole
in
bunch
there.
of stuff.
It's a whole bunch of stuff.
So
in
I
there.
hope that you guys have been blessed by Tanya's testimony. It's a powerful testimony. Ladies, gentlemen, whoever, if you're in positions that you're not happy, find that faith,
That's
to
it.
trust in God and lean and lean not on your own understanding.
That's it.
Don't believe the testimony. If God didn't say it, don't accept it. I
That's
mean,
it.
just so many different things that you have said.
That's it.
Yeah. So,
That's
Peter, you
it.
got something to say?
No, I'm just always blessed to have you in the studio on Monday nights. That's all. I'm so
Okay.
happy to see you. It's been a couple weeks.
It has been a couple of weeks.
Praise
Was
God.
was Tanya not amazing tonight?
Always.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
very
Yes.
much so.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank
So
you.
we are checking out. Thank you guys for joining us. We will see you in our next podcast. This is This Game Called Life with yours truly, Coach PBJ. Y'all have a great one.